Okay, Jamie McMurray is our race winner. Wins his first Sprint All Star race, and led a race high 31 laps, Jamie. And this big win for you here. It's got to be a big win for you here tonight. I know how much you like racing here at Charlotte and have had success here before at the Speedway, but just talk about what this means, not only right down this moment in time in your career, but also in your career overall. Winning this is a big deal, winning this race.
Yeah, I mean, this is. Hello. So this is just really awesome moment. It's so much different than winning the Daytona 500 or the Brickyard, because there are no points, and I think the mentality going into to that last segment is just all or nothing, and that was my my thought process. I'm like, I don't really care if we wreck. I don't care what happens. I'm racing for $1 million. I get to start on the front row, and I'm going to make the very most out of the restart and everything that goes with this. So it was awesome. It's 3 or 4 of the hardest laps I've ever driven in my racing career, and it's one of those memories that I hope that I never forget. I have like such a clear vision of those 3 or 4 laps with the 99 car being on the inside of me, and it's what we wake up every single day and live for, is to get to be put in that exact position. It's really awesome.
And Keith, just talk about this win from your perspective as a young crew chief, just what this means to you.
It means a lot to finally get a win. I feel like this year we've been pretty good. We just need to get better, and I feel like we've been getting better on the track every week. And last week we had a little unfortunate thing happen, so didn't get to show how good that car was. But tonight, we kind of started in the back a little bit, or started in the middle, and had to play a little bit of a track position game. And I really knew that we had something special when we pitted, and I think like 7 people stayed out or so, and we were running really good lap times compared to what we'd run before. And then after that, we stayed out, and when no one else stayed out in front of us, I knew that we had something. So Jamie did a great job. The 4 and the 5 were really fast, and they were on 4 tires most of the night. And when only the 5 passes that one time, and Jamie was on really old lefts and rights, sticker rights, and held the 2 or the 4 off forever. So right then, I knew that final segment is, us and somebody else are going to run for this $1 million. So obviously got the line up in second spot, come down pit road. The guys had a great pit stop, barely got beat out, restart on the outside, and like he said, he just drove amazing. Yeah, all 10 laps were amazing, but that race with Carl was really special, and I don't know, just special to win the All-Star race. It's nice to win it as a crew chief, and looking forward to just carrying this momentum to winning some points races.
Very good. We'll take some questions now. We'll start down here front row with Mike, and then we'll go to Jay and then Bob.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com. Interrupt your drink there, Jamie.
I don't drink, so I've got a pretty good buzz right now, just so you know. I don't remember the last time I had a drink of alcohol, and I've had about half that bottle of champagne. Things are looking pretty good right now.
Things are looking real
Yes,
good
sir.
for you right now. I caught up with Carl in the garage after the race, and he lamented some of the decisions he made and said he would have driven the last few laps differently, but he said you drove perfectly and made perfect decisions at every turn. Do you feel like that was the best 4 or 5 laps you could have possibly driven when you were racing with him?
Absolutely. When I look back at like winning the Daytona 500, it's kind of circumstantial to get drafting totally different. The Brickyard was really special because I passed Kevin Harvick on the outside of turn 1 at Indy, which does not happen. It's really hard to do. That was a really special restart for me. But this is different because there's no points, and I honestly I wanted Carl to take the outside of the restart because I thought the inside was the better place, and I'd restarted on the inside both times before and been able to beat the guy to turn 1. And when he took the inside, I was like, screw it, I don't care. Like if we drive off into the corner and we all wreck, I don't care right now because literally you can see the $1 million. When you get to be in the All-Star race, it's one thing to start, like I started the first segment 11th, but there's so much that's going to happen between now and that last 10-lap segment that it's not reality until, like I remember, I think I restarted 6th last year, and I believed in my head, I'm like, I think I can win this if I get in the right position. But starting 2nd, I'm like, one of us is going to win this. The 4, I'm like, the 4 is going to have a chance, but it's so hard to pass here in 10 laps, especially when you have a good car in front of you, that I'm like, if the 99 ever gets in front of me, I don't think I can pass him. And a couple of those, I was telling Keith on the way over here, a couple of those laps when he was inside of me, we drove off into turn 1, and I felt like I was 300 feet deeper than I'd ever driven into that corner in qualifying trim, and I could hear his exhaust, and he hadn't let off yet. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm just staying wide open until he lets off, and I'm going to carry a little more speed. And it was so much fun to like run up the racetrack with him, knowing that like on the end of that is $1 million. And I can't explain to you guys how unbelievable that is to hold a checkup for that much money. It's crazy. I can't even make sense of what's going on right now. It's awesome. Really, it's like just it's ultimately what a race car driver wakes up every single day to be put in that position. That's unbelievable.
Let's go to who's up next? Jay? Go ahead, Jay.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports. You guys have had some pretty strong runs this year and just some tough luck. You look at Martinsville and Kansas, for instance. What does winning this race, even though it's not a points race, do for you guys going forward, knowing how much wins mean this year?
Well, I'm going to let Keith answer this as well, but my take on tonight, what makes tonight so special is that it's all about a team effort. I feel like I did a really good job as a driver. Keith did a great job of when we had the caution in the second segment, we pitted, and I could listen in his voice. I thought, he's going to make me stay out the next segment on old tires, and I don't want to do that. But I could tell that's what he wanted to do. Because it's all about just trying to score the most points you can in those first 4 segments for a good, starting spot in the last 10 laps. And also about our pit crew. To be able to come in second place, first or second place, on the last segment of the All Star race, there is no more pressure that you can put on a pit crew, I think, than that. And so for those guys to come through with an amazing stop, and if the 99 hadn't had the first pit stall, we would have come out first. That's so cool for a complete team effort. And I think it shows the strength of not only Keith and I, but also our pit crew. And that's a really good feeling to know that your entire race team is capable of winning.
Who else had a question downstairs? Let's go Jenna, Dustin, Bob, and then press box.
Jennifer AP, I'll get you before you're drunk, Jamie. You said
You're too late, Jenna.
you said in Victory Lane, you said in Victory Lane about Keith that he was. I think you said he was a hidden gem or something like that, and how lucky you were to have gotten him.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that about him, and why is this relationship working?
Well, when I look at Keith, I think it's really hard. And when I think back to the beginning of my Sprint Cup career, I watched the guys move up from engineers to crew chiefs, or guys that were on teams up to crew chiefs, and like sometimes you could see it, like I think he can make it, and then other times like I don't know. But I had heard Keith Rodden's name for years, and heard people say just great things about Keith. And last year, I went over to Keith's house, and we sat in his basement and talked for 15 or 20 minutes, and when I left, I came out and I called Max. I'm like, that's the guy. I'm like, you got to figure out how to make it work. I'm like, no matter what you have to pay him, what you have to do, get that guy, because I like everything about him. There wasn't anything anything negative about that. And whenever everything worked out, I talked to Casey on the phone, and Casey's like, man, you got a really good guy, and I think he's going to do an amazing job for you. And Keith just all around, incredibly intelligent. Like obviously we all know that, but also very race savvy, good at calling the races, lots of common sense. He has everything it takes to be extremely successful. And I think tonight showed that he's willing to take a little bit of a chance on staying out, putting 2 tires on. That's hard. Those are tough decisions, because if it doesn't work out, I think it's hard to go home at night as a crew chief when you feel like you've made the wrong decision. But he made all the right decisions tonight, and having confidence in someone, especially as a driver, in the guy that you is ultimately responsible for your car, which has your name on it and is your life, right? That's huge, and I have so much confidence in not only his ability to make my car fast, but also to make the right decisions on pit road and make all of just get us to victory lane. He's done a great job. It's really hard to say that, just so you know, when someone's sitting 3 inches from you. It's kind of hard, but he's done a really good job.
Let's go to Dustin, Bob, and then press box.
Dustin Long of MRN.com for Jamie.
I am listening.
Okay. Obviously, in your career, you've won some of the biggest races, but you've also had, certainly the struggles were certainly some down years. Your career seems like there's been a lot of highs and lows. How have you persevered? Because you seem to be somebody that takes everything even personally to the nth degree, and it really kind of carries with them. How have you kind of handled these highs and lows, and how have you kind of persevered to get back to this point tonight?
Well, it's really hard. I won't lie. I feel like I'm harder on myself probably than anyone else is. And when you go through the garage and you look at drivers who are with really good teams, some of them are having bad years, and if you think that they're not doubting their ability or down on themselves, they are. I mean, because that's just the way our sport works. I think it's the same way in whether it's golf or baseball. I think when you're not doing well, you always wonder if you're capable of competing at this level. So I've had the absolute best moments of my career, and I've had some really, really tough times. And it's hard, but you just have to believe that you get in the right position. And for me this year, and Keith coming over, and the amount of money and effort that Chip and Felix have put into our team, that makes you believe, that helps. And even though you guys don't see it most likely, our team, when I look at our car, something would happen. And that's really frustrating, and that gets your confidence down. But I text Keith last week. I'm like, man, keep your head up. We're doing our cars are really fast, and that's the hardest part of this sport, is to have fast cars. Luck, good luck, bad luck, that happens. But if your cars are slow, that's hard to fix in a short amount of time. And we've had awesome cars. I mean, both teams have run really well this year. So it's tough when things are going bad, but I've also got to live. I mean, like the Daytona 500, Brickyard 400, the All Star Race now. I've got to live some of the greatest victories that you can have in this sport. It's unbelievable.
Let's go to Bob, and then we'll go to press box.
Bob Hocker, Sport News. For both of you, I'm curious how much your past history here have impacted your race today. Keith, considering that the 5 had been a very successful car here in the past, were you able to bring anything that you learned from there specifically for this track? And Jamie, you having won at this track before, did that give you the confidence to be able to race Edwards that hard?
I will take all 3.
Not really. Everything changed this year with the no ride height rule, so you can start your car out on pit road at whatever ride heights you want to start. So that pretty much wiped out everything that we had done the last 2 years. Kind of racing here a lot, really paying attention, keeping up with the track, that sort of thing that Ray and Kenny really instilled in me. So that sort of thing is there. It's still Charlotte, right? But no setup or no technical things really. Just kind of keeping up with the racetrack, and it's so hard because you practice during the day. This race was all during the night. I didn't like the 42. I thought was really good in practice, and I think they were going to have a really good race last night, and had a little issue. But I just didn't pay a lot of attention to it because it wasn't the same conditions as what we raced tonight. And until we do this, we don't really know how it'll be. So we, Jamie had one thing he kind of wanted to do to the car, and we had some other things, and we actually changed a good bit of stuff tonight for the race, and it worked out. So I'm happy about that, but it doesn't always work out. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but from the technical side, no. From keeping up with the racetrack, yes.
That's so weird because Keith told me tonight before the race started that we just had the 5-car setup in from last year. So I don't know where he got that answer from just now. Well, I think that, like, for me coming here, this is a really good track for me. It has been. I won my first race here. We won here in 2010. This has been just a really good track for me. And when I look at, I think what Keith is saying about the ride heights is so true. But I felt good. We were, us and the 42 were one of the better cars at the test here that we had when we were trying to figure out the spoilers and the front pans and everything. And so coming back here, I felt good about it just 'cause it's been a good track, and I don't really disagree with what Keith's saying, but I think that he has always run well here. So I think that helps when you go to tracks that typically crew chiefs, engineers run well at and drivers run well at. I think it's a really good combination.
Let's go to press box for 3 questions. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Jamie, how much has it helped you to have an engineering style?
I didn't know you could see me.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
An engineer for a crew chief, because in the past, you've worked with guys like Wingo and such. It's a little different discipline, and you talked about how surprised you were that the car stuck at the on the high groove where I guess there was a lot of debris. You guys were talking about kicking up dirt and stuff. What just made you stick up there?
Well, $1 million is what made me say hell with it. I'm gonna go for it. I really enjoy having Keith. I guess what I really enjoy about Keith is I feel like when I ask him a question, he always has an answer. I feel like he's always already thought about what I am bringing up, and I ask a lot of questions, and I ask a lot of random questions, and I always feel like he has a good answer, and I think that's a really good confidence builder for a driver when you can ask a question, whether it's about pit road setups, what happened in the nationwide race last night. I feel like he's always thinking about it, and I said this last week or the week before. I talked to him on the phone a week or so ago, and he's like, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was thinking about this, and I'm like, that is awesome that's what's going through your head at 3 a.m. I know your wife probably doesn't enjoy that, but I love that you're constantly worried about making our car faster, because that's the kind of stuff I think about at 3 a.m. So that side of it, I just really enjoy. I feel like he's always thinking about what we need to do to make our team and our cars better. And it's also nice, like the engineering side of it, that Keith can, if we need to look at data or simulation, he knows how to run that because he's done it in the past. And so when he talks to the engineer, he can speak at, they can talk kind of the same lingo, which is great.
2 more questions in the press box. Go ahead.
Jamie, this is Thomas Pope from the Fayetteville Observer. When Chip was in earlier, he talked about that when you get a sniff of the front, you really calm down. Is that something that most drivers do, you think, or shouldn't it be the opposite?
Well, I think, I don't know. That makes me feel good that he thinks that. He said that to me, too, and I didn't know what he was talking about. The truth is, and it's this way in any kind of racing, when you get to the front, the cars drive so much better. I talked to Kurt out there before the race started, and just telling him I was watching him at Indy and asking him about that, and he was explaining about 20 cars back to 10 cars back to when you get close, like how dirty the air is in IndyCar racing, and we were kind of trying to relate it to NASCAR. So I think my side of that is that when I get to the front, the car drives better because you're just in better air.
Jim Utter from the Charlotte Observer. Congratulations, Jamie.
Thank you.
You mentioned a little earlier that you've had the opportunity to win so many big races during your career that a lot of drivers never get the chance to. I just wondered if for some reason your career ended tomorrow, how would you feel that you've had a successful career based on what you've been able to accomplish, or would you feel that not being able to be in the thick of a championship hunt had somehow be something left on the table?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I think being able to contend for a championship would be a great feeling. I think that's a different feeling. That's such a long battle versus, race to race and being able to win. I have been so lucky to be able to first off be in NASCAR as long as I have been, and to be able to experience the wins that I have been involved with and the people that I've been able to meet. So, I mean, I think it's been really successful. There's been a lot of guys come along that don't ever get to win a race, much less win 3 of the biggest races of the year. So yeah, I feel really lucky to be able to do what I've done.
We clearing the media center, or excuse me, the press box. Okay, we'll take one more question. It'll be right over here. Actually, we'll take 2 more. Steve, and then we'll finish with Kelly.
Steve Richards of PRN. What are you going to do with your winnings, Jamie? The extra money?
I'm going to send my 2 kids and probably my next child that's not here yet to school. Is what, honest to God, that's what I've thought about. I'm like, school is really expensive, and you guys don't know this about me probably, but I'm very frugal, just outright tight. I am paranoid about money every day of my life, and I thought about, I've looked at what school costs and college and just getting to college, and it's most likely going to go to that.
I saw Marty tweeted that you were something about a train for your kid.
Yeah, so I'll tell you guys the story. I've told it 10 times, but I think it's a really great story. This morning, the whole family sitting at the breakfast table. Carter and Hazel are eating cereal. I'm having some coffee, kind of looking on the internet, and I asked Carter, I said, what are you going to do today? And he's like, well, I'm going to probably play in my sandbox, Dad, and he rattled off a couple of random things that I already knew that he was going to do. And he said, Dad, what are you going to do today? And I was like, well, Carter, I'm going to go race for $1 million tonight. And he's like, okay, like no big deal. Has no idea what $1 million is. And I think it's so weird that my wife, who we really never talk about racing, she never really asked me anything about the car or if I think I can win. Very seldom does she say that. And she's like, do you think you can win tomorrow night? Or tonight? And I'm like, I don't know. I said, we got to get our car a little better. It's a good track. I said, if we get our car better, I think we have a chance. And she's like, Carter, if Dad were to win tonight, what would you want? And, of course, most of you, if you could have anything in the world with $1 million, you would pick something really expensive, right? And he's like, I'd like a new train set. I'm like, okay, it's yours, Carter. If we win, actually, whether we win tonight or not, you can have a new train set, either way. But that's really cool. I can't wait to get home and see. I'm going to end up staying here tonight because I have a small buzz right now. But I can't wait to get home and see them in the morning and bring the trophy home and get to share that moment with Carter. Carter doesn't quite get winning and losing. After Talladega race, where we ripped the splitter off our car and we're 10 laps down, and we almost got them all back, right? I was a little frustrated after the race and went back to my motorhome, and I'm going to take my suit off. And I walk in the bus, I open the door, and Carter is standing on the ottoman in our bus. And I walk in, and he puts both his hands in the air, and he's like, Dad, Denny Hamlin won, woohoo! He's excited. I'm like, Carter, I love you. I don't know what else to say. I'm like, that's he doesn't know that I should be the one to win, right? And that I really don't care if Denny Hamlin won the race, right? But so I can't wait to go home and tell him that Dad won last night. That's really cool for me.
How about you, Keith? I mean, I'm sure you get a few extra dollars. Hopefully.
I'm not sure. So, but everything he said is probably about how I am, and as frugal as I am, my wife is even tighter. So she's in here, so that's awesome. Yeah, she's not even embarrassed about it 'cause she knows it's true. But yeah, same kind of thing, really. I mean, gotta protect for the future and the kids, and hopefully we have a house that we'll never move out of. And if I don't want to move again anyway, ever. And yeah, I just don't really think about stuff like that, to be honest with you. Just think about racing, and when we're at home, at the house or on an off weekend like tomorrow, just looking forward to spending time with the family. And I mean, I don't know what it is with people, because we have a 2.5-year-old, almost a 3-year-old. She'll be 3 in August, and everyone gives us stuff for her. It's like no one thinks that we buy Emmy anything at all. So she has all this stuff, and I think we've spent $50 on toys in 3 years. It's awesome. So if anybody wants to donate anything, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no big plans to spend any money.
That's pretty cool about the college. Great idea. Trust me, it's expensive.
I know.
Kelly over here to the far right.
Kelly Crandall with Popular Speed. Jamie, you and Chip have gone through a lot over the years, and you've also delivered him his first Daytona, his first Brickyard, and now the All Star Race. What does he mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Well, the thing about Chip with me is that he's my car owner, but since I came back in 2010, Chip is one of my best friends. When when we talk during the week on the phone, we talk a little bit about racing, but we talk more about families and anything but racing. So I was so excited that he was here tonight. He showed up. He came over after qualifying. I was really upset with myself after qualifying. I didn't feel like I did a good job. I didn't think I was aggressive enough. He came in the hauler, and after the race, that's like one of the first things I thought of was, I'm so glad that Chip and Felix are here, and I get to share this with them, because they were in Daytona, they were in Indy, and when I look back at those races, the memories of Chip being there are really special to me. And Chip is somewhat unique, I feel like, in racing in general, because most car owners have a separate business, and they don't depend on racing to put food on the table, where Chip is all about racing. So he did a book a while back of his 100 wins, and I got to be a part of that. And when I look back at some of the memories of my racing career, almost all of them I've experienced with him, and that's really special to me. And when I pulled into, got up on the stage, I gave him a hug, and I'm like, we get to have another one of these incredible memories together. And it's a great relationship, and I feel so blessed to get to share that with he and Felix.
Okay, congratulations to Jamie and to Keith and to everybody over at